Aloha, and welcome to the Sylvan Bell Business Growth and Exit Strategy Podcast, your guide to building companies that command maximum multiples. I'm Sylvan Bell, author of 5 books on business strategy and sales, creator of the Sell Framework, Scale Framework, and Driver Test. I work with owners of $10 million to $250 million companies, whether you're scaling for growth or positioning for a profitable exit. Each episode breaks down one framework, strategy, or concept you can apply this week to grow revenue systematically, scale operations, and maximize enterprise value. Let's get started.
Aloha and welcome to episode number 24, Founder Dependency, the valuation drag you don't see. Today, I'm coming to you live from Kaneohe, Oahu, one of my favorite places on earth. And if you hear the thunder or you hear the rainstorm, it's because I'm in the middle of a tropical storm, but I'm going to record this episode anyway. So if your business can't run without you, it won't sell without you. That should echo in your mind. If the business can't run without you, it will not sell without you. And the reason I bring this up is buyers and investors pay premiums for independence, not indispensability. The buyer, the investment, the private equity company wants to know that you can walk away within a reasonable amount of time and they could reproduce what you have given them or prepared that you said that you could give them. So I want to define founder dependency for you. And what this is when decisions, relationships, approvals, deliveries, or any other type of decision-making revolves around you, the company's not transferable. Or let me get this straight. It is transferable, but you're not going to get a multiple. It is transferable. You're just not going to get the money that you expect unless you have some rare conditions. And it could be geography. It could be the special sauce that you have inside of your company organizations. I don't want you to say, well, Scott, on a Wednesday on a full moon, when I stub my toe and get out of bed, I'm unique. And that's not true. Okay, I'm going to give it to you. In maybe 0.5% of the deals, it's not true. But in 99.5% of the deals, it is true. When you have too much risk put on you, it lowers the multiples because the buyers, the investors, the private equity firms, they fear decline after the transition. Remember, they're buying something that is supposed to make them money. And if everything isn't as represented or it's not going to work, they're just not going to give you as much money for it. So the more that you are the business, the more they structure risk into the deal with holdbacks, with conditions, with subject to clauses. So if you're the magic and the magic stops, it's game over. You're not going to get the magic multiple that you want. And there's a hero trap that happens. Business owners, founders that have bootstrapped a business and brought it up from nothing to something, they pride themselves for being problem solvers or the creator because that's what they had to do in startup mode. And what looks like leadership internally looks like fragility externally. So you must, I have this in my show notes, just so you know. It's underlined, it's bolded in italics, which means I got to put an emphasis on it. You must build a team that you can rely on. This is the name of the game on an exit is building a predictable revenue stream with a team that can run the business without you. Right? Like, if you're thinking, hey, I'm the guy that they're always throwing the ball to in the sports analogy, it can't be you anymore. You got to pass that on. Right? It's going to be pre-retirement for you, but you don't have to tell your team that. You can tell them, hey, look, we're stepping up our game. My role and responsibility is to be the strategy and think about how things are going to get done. And then I'm going to delegate how to do them. This may be like, you really do want to figure out the conversation that you're going to have to the team when you hand stuff off. And you don't have to hand everything off immediately. That conversation could look like this. Team, I did some thinking this weekend, and what I really want to do is I really want to be the strategy and the mind behind the company. I want to be above the company. I don't want to be in the day-to-day. So I'm going to work with you individually every week, and we're going to come up with a game plan, and we're going to make sure that you're well equipped for you to make decisions with decision bands, with prearranged for how much you could spend or how much that you can hire or what type of decisions that you can make. And you've got to back out. You've got to figure out a way for you to get above everything that's going on so that you're not the hero. And some of the categories for you to take a look at are sales, operations, culture, finance, identity inside of the company or being the name of the company, And you can make a list like, where are you the most exposed? You absolutely want to take a look and say, hey, what is the best order of operation here? Like in math, they got please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, PEDMAS. You want to think of this the same way. What's going to give us the best operational lift with the least amount of danger towards the company or the operations? And if you have to decide on pricing, hiring, exceptions, vendor approvals, the scalability is going to stall. Like this really should be handed over to someone else. And the way that this works is accountability. And the only way that you're going to do that is with job descriptions and org charts and reviews and saying, hey, are you fulfilling your role or not? Without taking and putting all these steps in place, it's going to be a complete waste of your time. You're going to come back and say, Scott, it didn't work. And I'm going to point to you, like if you really want to grow a business, it's got to be professionalized. Most companies get to the $3 million mark where the founder, the entrepreneur bootstrap themselves, and they come to me and they say, Scott, I can't grow any further. For whatever reason, I'm hamstrung. It's like because you're working in the business. And in all realities, you should graduate. Like hey, you got to 3 million. Congratulations. Like that's the graduation mark. Like this, it's now your turn to hand over the reins and to take a new role inside of the organization, the company, the practice, whatever you're doing. Here is a tool that you can use. Your job is to your job is to track every decision you personally approve for the next 30 days. So if somebody comes to you and says, hey, boss, got a minute? Hey, can you take a look at this? Hey, got a question. You should have a notepad and you keep track. It might be finances that comes to you. It might be sales that comes to you. Maybe be ops. It may be whatever department that it is. This is a clue. This is a major process for you to figure this out. And at the end of the day, you should figure out early on what decisions that you are required for and figure out how to get out of them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, hey, just ignore them, but they should be handed off to somebody else.
A message from your sponsor, Scott Sylvan Bell. That's me. If you're getting value from this episode, here's how to go deeper. First, subscribe to my weekly newsletter, The Party, at scottsylvanbell.com. That's where I share the strategies, frameworks, and case studies I don't release anywhere else. You'll get one actionable insight every week you can implement inside your business immediately. Second, while you're on the site, download the complete Sell Framework, Scale Framework, and Drivers Test, all free with scoring guides, worksheets, and step-by-step implementation checklist. These are the same frameworks I use with $10 million to $250 million companies to build systematic revenue, scale operations, and maximize enterprise value. Go to scottsylvanbell.com right now, subscribe to the newsletter, grab the frameworks, and let's keep building companies that command maximum multiples. Let's get going.
One of the ways that you professionalize your company is by institutionalizing relationships. That means that you're going to move account ownership to a person or a team. And the only reason that you're really going to be inside of a meeting with a client is strategic oversight in the beginning, not as the primary operator. Like over time, it's going to get handed off to somebody else. And you may have to plan cadence for certain clients and say, hey, for the next quarter, I'll be here, once a week or every other week or once a month, whatever that number happens to be, but it's got to go to my team. And so there's some right sizing that you can do. You can, if you have clients that you're working with and they're requiring your personal touch, it's probably an old deal. And if it's an old deal, you can talk to them and say, hey, listen, you've been getting below market rate for our services for a certain period of time. Where true. Okay, make sure this is true. And say, hey, I've got to hand you off. Like this is the direction. My role inside of the organization has changed. It's strategy now. My role inside of the organization is Overwatch. My job is to make sure that the company grows. And this is a distraction. You're not going to say it the way that I said it, just so you know. I'm giving you the framework. I'm giving you the bones. The management team that you have is your credible layer, your credible secondary layer of business, and it reduces the risk profile inside of your organization. You're going to find that one of the conditions that investors and private equity put in is they want to interview the leadership before making offers. So here's what they do is they come to you and they say, business owner, entrepreneur, founder, we're interested in buying the company. We've looked at the financials. We're an LOI, and part of this LOI is going to be that we interview your leadership team. You're going to have them sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and they're going to say that they can't talk about what's being done. That's your legal protection. And if you got questions, go talk to a qualified attorney because they can give you the answers. I'm not an attorney giving you advice. I'm saying this is the way that it typically goes. And what you may find is there might be some incentivization that's needed to keep the leaders around or to own the outcomes. And this is why job descriptions and KPIs and scoreboards are so important because you can tie bonuses to them. You can talk about dependency, you can talk about oversight, you can talk about decision bands, you can talk about what's been done and what's not been done. So you have to replace your memory with standard operating procedures, dashboards, reoccurring meeting rhythms. What's documented is transferable. What's not documented is not transferable. If it's in your head, it's a problem. I'm going to tell you a story, real life. About 8 years ago, my dad passed away. He had a widowmaker heart attack while he was doing the books inside of his business. And my dad was a brilliant business operator. My dad, everything was in his head. He did not have transferable knowledge. And so when he died, my mom came to me and said, Scott, I don't know how to run this business. I need your help. And part of my role and responsibility, all of my role and responsibility shifted. I walked away from what I was doing to help my mom grow her business and eventually exit it. And I'm going to share with you all of these things that I'm going over with you protect you from something else. And that's the event of you passing. And if you have a family run business and you're a man between the ages of 45 and above, you have a high concentration risk of you having a heart attack under stress. And I'm going to let you know from my experience, this isn't like me talking from a book. This is real deal. If you have a significant other that's a female and she inherits your company or your business, it's not just that she's going to have to operate that business. The wolves come out, the pirates come out, the thugs, the scoundrels come out. And it's not just they're going to have to fight for the company, they're going to have to fight off the wolves at the gate. And by you taking the time right now, excuse me, by you taking the time right now to figure this out, it saves a lot of problems. By you taking the time to figure this out right now, I'm going to share with you, it's about 3 years of work, especially if you're the person who knows all the information. It was so hard when my dad died because there was no the pay plan. My dad had the pay plan memorized. My dad would look at production and he would pay hourly, and then he had a bonus, and he had never shown anybody how he did his bonus. So next pay period at the end of the month when the guys were expecting uh their bonuses, we had to go to them and go, oh yeah, the founder died in the office about 3 weeks ago. And by the way, your comp plan's going to change because we can't figure out how he did it. Like, you want to talk about having some problems and issues. This is why you need leadership. This is why you absolutely positively have to have a succession plan. And believe it or not, that's what you're doing. When you're putting plans in place, this is succession. You may be out on the lake water skiing, wakeboarding. You may be out on a hunting trip. You may be taking a flight with your significant other. You may be driving to dinner and something happens. Like, you're looking at continuity of your business. It's not just the option for you to sell. Your transition is runway planning. You want to start your reducing of involvement 5, 4, 3, 2 years before an exit. You want to make it so that at the end of the day, you're not stuck with operational shock. High dependency on you leads to longer earnouts, consulting agreements, and performance-based payout. At the end of the day, you want to be able to walk away from the company, the organization, hand them the keys and say, here you go. You know, here's everything that I'm giving you. I know it's going to work. There's no hope. Just so you know, if you ever throw somebody the keys to the business and say, hope it works out, they're going to be like, oh my goodness, what did we just buy? You want to remove yourself from core operational functions entirely and replace with systems and accountability, KPI, scorecards, as soon as you can. And this doesn't have to be all done in a day. You have time. If you're doing the 5, 4, 3, 2 plan, you've got time. If you're doing the 1 year plan or the 6 month plan, I'm going to say that's where it makes it really hard. So you want to ask yourself, if you took a 60-day sabbatical, would revenue hold steady? Would it increase? Would it decline? Your exit value depends upon that answer.
Mahalo for listening to the Scott Sylvan Bell Business Growth and Exit Strategy podcast. Here's what's available to you right now. First, subscribe to this podcast so you get every framework we release. Second, visit scottsylvanbell.com to access the Sell Framework, Scale Framework, and Driver Test. All free with complete scoring guides and implementation worksheets. Third, subscribe to my weekly newsletter, The Party, where I break down strategies and frameworks you won't find anywhere else with one actionable insight every week. Go to scottsylvanbell.com and enter your email. And if this episode added value, share it with another business owner building a $10 million to $250 million company. Until next time, keep building companies that command maximum multiples. Aloha.